and welcome back to Fresh Fruit. And we should have Shamey Cramer on the phone. I just want to mention one last thing about the Shades of Yellow. If you're interested, their email address is community@shadesofyellow.org. And I just want to give a little intro here. Shamey Cramer is the current Officer of Ceremonies for the Federation of Gay Games in the international governing body for the Quadrennial Gay Games. He was founder of Team Los Angeles in 1982 and will oversee the opening and closing ceremonies next summer at Gay Games 9 in Cleveland and Akron. So, Shamey, are you there?
I'm here, Dixie. Good to hear your voice.
Oh, good to hear you. Well, tell us about your role with the Federation of Gay Games to start with.
Well, this past summer, I was in Washington, D.C., doing some legislative work for the HIV Organ Policy Equity Act, which is moving very well through both the Senate and the House. But I was also doing work on behalf of the Gay Games, working with the Department of State to secure visas for some of our delegates that will be coming to the Federation of Gay Games annual General Assembly, which will take place this October in Cleveland. That will also be the first chance that many of the FGG Board and Assembly will have to see all of the venues that we're going to be using next summer's Gay Games 9, which will take place August 9th through the 16th. But working with the State Department, Emmy Ritt, who's the female co-president of the Federation, and I had the opportunity to meet with Gautam Raghavan, who is the White House LGBT advisor to President Obama, to discuss the various ways the White House can support Gay Games 9 next summer.
And the Gay Games now have been going since 1982. And
Correct.
You were instrumental, I guess, in the early days with Team Los Angeles, right?
Yes. And interestingly enough, Jean Nicholas Tretter, the founder of the Tretter Collection, which is housed at the university, Jean was the co-founder of Team Minnesota with Robin Karras, another Minnesota local. And that's how my connection to the university and to the Tretter Collection began. Because while Stephanie Mills was up on the stage singing, Home from The Wiz, Jean and I were out there in the audience, on the field with all the athletes talking about how we can grow this as an international operation. Mm-hmm. Jean, what a lot of people don't know is that Jean worked very closely with Tom Waddell, the founder of the Gay Games. Jean was the one who created what we now refer to as the Red Book, which details how every sport is to be run in accordance with LGBT rules. He's also the one that when they said they were going to have a torch-read across the United States, Gene put it together from Cleveland all the way to Denver, and I think there were about 11 stops in Middle America. So this October, when we have our annual meeting, other than selecting our host for Gay Games 10 in 2018, we will also be presenting our Legacy Awards, which will include the Pioneer Award to Gene Tretter for all his work with the Gay Games.
Fabulous. Oh, well, did you have a question?
Yes, quick question. If I was someone who has never been to the Gay Games or doesn't know what it is, what could I expect?
What you can expect is a week of amazing competition and a lot of fun. Gay Games 9 is going to be hosted in Cleveland thanks to big support from the Cleveland Foundation. Their website, gg9cle.com. And as they say on the website, you don't have to be good, you don't have to be gay, you just have to be 18 or older. From the very beginning, the Gay Games motto has been participation, inclusion, and personal best. So, it's open to everyone regardless of age, gender, and we truly have been using sport and culture to address the issues of homophobia, sexism, racism, ageism, and other forms of discrimination all across the world. Last year, we held our annual meeting in Sofia, Bulgaria, and this was 6 weeks after the Bulgarian parliament passed the same law that was just passed in Russia last month, where you're not allowed to do any marketing or promotion of anything LGBT in the country. Otherwise, you are going to be arrested and fined and thrown in jail, if not worse.
Well, speaking of discrimination, we definitely want to talk about what's going on in Russia. So will you talk about that for us, please?
Well, as some people have heard, gay rights in Russia have been a big problem ever since the revolution. Even though they decriminalized male acts of homosexuality in Russia in 1993, it is still rated the most difficult country in Europe in which to be gay. In June, the legislation passed imposing fines for propagandizing of non-traditional sexual relations among minors. Several years back, Gene Schroeder and Schroeder board member Phil Wilkie attended the gay pride events in Moscow and witnessed firsthand the homophobia and the beatings and the trouble that the gay community faces there on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So they actually have even gone so far as to ban gay pride events for 100 years by a court order in Russia.
That is
so obviously, this is all having a huge impact with the Sochi Olympics coming up in February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really dramatic. That's really crazy. 100 years?
Well, tell us about the Olympic rules that you're very familiar with, and what can people do in reference to what's going on with the upcoming Olympics?
Well, there are several things that are going on. First of all, the Olympic Charter. There are 3 rules that are coming into play with all this that people are referring to. Rule number 6, which states that any form of discrimination with regard to a country or a person on grounds of race, religion, politics, gender, or otherwise is incompatible with belonging to the Olympic movement. Now, last week, when the International Olympic Committee President, Dr. Jacques Rogge, was in Moscow attending the World Championships for track and field, he said in a speech that he understands Principle 6 to prohibit discrimination would include the basis of sexual identity. And of course, Rule 15 states that, the Olympic Charter is there to encourage and support initiatives blending sport with culture and education. Mm-hmm. Now, Rule number 50 states that demonstrations are prohibited in regards to uniforms and accessories. Well, this part of the problem was in London last year, the London Olympic Organizing Committee, LOCOG, they actually issued a rainbow pin as part of the London logo with the rainbow colors, which was distributed by LOCOG from their Diversity Outreach Committee. Well, basically what the IOC has now come out and said that, any athlete who breaks Rule 50 is going to face punishment. So even if, Johnny Weir or Blake Skellerup, the 2 openly gay athletes that we know are going to be competing there, even if they were to wear the London Pride pin, they would be breaking the Olympic Charter as athletes. But yet we have Rule 6, where the entire host country is breaking the rules of the Olympic Charter.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking, is the whole country is breaking the rule. Is the Olympic Committee going to do anything about it?
Well, the Olympic Committee always says, well, we can't get involved with any political. Well, it's kind of like the gay games. We're one of the most non-political political events there is. And that's the same thing with the Olympics. Mm-hmm. It is a peace movement. That's what Baron Pierre de Coubertin used it for. Mm-hmm. Instead of taking out our aggressions on the battlefield, you take it out on the field of sport, and you honor the champion. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. They've got the IOC has their elections coming up on September 10th, where they'll be selecting a new IOC president as well as the host for the 2020 Olympic Summer Games. So it's going to be interesting to see how they respond, because that all happens before Sochi. But there are people who are saying, well, we should boycott. No, I don't think we should. And President Obama has also said boycott is not the answer. What we need to see are the out-and-proud gay athletes on the medal stand. So those are the people that are making the difference. Mm-hmm. I also would agree. I don't think the boycott is the answer. There are those who are, boycotting Russian-made products, and that's that's how some people feel. That's their way that they can express themselves. Of course, being part of the gay games movement, what I'm hoping is that people will either, this will motivate more people to register, to participate at the gay games, or to come to them as spectators, or even go to the Federation's website, gaygames.org, and go to our support page and, make donations so that we can continue doing the work that we do internationally. Mm-hmm. Last year, we were able to secure a 10-year visa for the first openly gay candidate of Honduras. Technically, he was the second candidate because when the first one announced his candidacy, he was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered.
Oh, wow.
And so Eric Vidal Martinez stepped in and became the second openly gay candidate, but the first to actually appear on the ballot. And we were able to bring him to the United States, where he spoke at universities and in San Francisco and Los Angeles, which, that's how we transform the country, the movement is doing it individual by individual.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Shamey. I know that we'll have you on again since the Gay Games 9 is going to be in 2014. But we're out of time for tonight, so thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome. So
thank
we're going
you
to see
so
you there,
much.
Dixie?
Pardon?
Are we going to see you there in Cleveland?
Oh, I'll come to Cleveland, definitely. Sure.
We'd love to have Fresh Fruit do a live podcast.
Oh,
Well, I
that'd be
might
great.
accompany her. Who knows?
That'd
Well,
be great.
good. We want to see everyone.
Okay.
Minnesota had the third largest team, so back in 1982. So we'd love to see that repeat again as the largest team.
All right.
Fabulous.
Well, you can count on that.
All right. Thanks
All
so
right,
much,
ladies.
Shamey.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye. Shamey Cramer from the Gay Games Federation and the Federation of Gay Games, I should say. He's the Officer of Ceremonies for the 2014 Gay Games. And we're going to take a music break, and we'll be back with Stephen Silla, filmmaker of... Where is it? My brain just slipped here. Big Joy, The Adventures of James Broughton. So please stay tuned.
This is Fresh Fruit.